On the morning of December 15th, a drone attack took place in the city of Grozny, Chechnya, Russia. Russian and Ukrainian telegram channels reported on this. The targets of the aircraft-type kamikaze drones were the bases of the OMON and the Special Police Regiment. Footage of the attack on the OMON base was shared on telegram channels. As can be seen from the footage, an attempt was made to shoot down the drones with small arms. It is also said that one of the drones fell on a military base where soldiers were being trained to fight Ukraine. There is no information about the casualties.
Дежурный, вы медчасть какая-то, Юсуп, медчасть какая-то. Какая дело там, сама да, алхамдулилlah. Казарм чухажа, дия, казарм чухажа. Из казарм чухаус.
Deputy Chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Medvedev, stated that Ukraine will either choose the Russian Federation or disappear. In his article for the International Affairs Journal, he reiterated the Russian propaganda thesis that Ukraine and Ukrainians never existed and that the country's inhabitants are just Ukrainized Russians. At the same time, he assures that Russians and Ukrainians are one people. Today, Ukraine faces a choice: to be with Russia or to completely disappear from the world map. At the same time, Ukrainians should not be required to give neither soul nor body for their freedom. They should pacify the pride of otherness, abandon opposing themselves to the all-Russian project, and expel the demons of political Ukrainism, he said. Medvedev believes that Moscow must consolidate in the public consciousness of Ukrainians that Russia is irreplaceable for them in cultural, linguistic, and political terms. If the so-called Ukraine continues to follow an aggressive Russophobic course, it will forever disappear from the world map, just as the puppet entity of the Manchukuo, artificially created by military Japan as a proxy power on the territory of China, once evaporated, the article states. He blames the West. At all times, Western civilization has sought to impose its will on external actors, and it considers the most effective way to do this not to inflict a direct military defeat on them, which was rarely possible due to the constant shortage of material and human resources among Europeans. The strategy was much simpler and boiled down to the destruction of existing power structures from within by other people's hands. The Western world tried to prevent people from uniting, so they could not repel the enemy, to provoke rivalry and disagreements among them. It put the task of creating or turning objective ethnic, linguistic, cultural, tribal or religious differences to its advantage at the forefront. Today, the Anglo-Saxons have prepared division schemes for all those who disagree with their aggressive interference in the internal affairs of states around the world. Thus, in addition to the unrestrained pumping of weapons into Taiwan, they deliberately turn a blind eye to the efforts of the Taiwan administration to de-Sinicize and Taiwanize the island by implementing a policy of cultivating the so-called Taiwanese identity, the self-identification of its inhabitants as some kind of Taiwanese torn away from their roots and not Chinese, Medvedev said. Russia has begun moving its military equipment from small bases in Syria to the naval base in Tartus and the Khmeimim air base in Jableh. The corresponding footage was distributed online. As of today, the question of Russia's further military presence in Syria remains open. The day before, Bloomberg wrote that the Kremlin was close to an agreement with the new Syrian authorities on preserving the bases in Tartus and Jableh. However, German military analysts believe that the Russians are taking all necessary measures to completely evacuate their military bases from Syria. Bild reports. A memo from the German Defense Ministry says that the Russian ships have already left the port of Tartus. According to German analysts, the security guarantees provided by the new Syrian authorities probably concern the withdrawal of troops from the country rather than their permanent deployment. Clash Report also publishes information that may indicate that Russia will soon abandon its bases in Syria. According to the resource, Russia is apparently going to withdraw its S-400 air defense system from the Khmeimim airbase. Satellite images taken this morning and footage from the ground do not show the launchers deployed, and the 91N6E radar is packed and placed on the apron for loading onto the AN-124, the statement said. However, fighter jets and helicopters continue to operate at the base. Recall, Syria has been central to Russian plans to project power across the Middle East, as evidenced by the recent signing of a 49-year lease for Syrian bases. But after the ouster of the ally it propped up, Syrian President Bashar Assad, Russian officials face the likelihood its days in Syria are numbered. Russia's certainly doing everything in its power to maintain a presence in Syria, while preparing for the possibility that this is the end. Ben Dubois, a non-resident senior fellow with the Democratic Resilience Program at the Center for European Policy Analysis, told Business Insider. Moscow is doing so by not only leaving their ships out at sea, but, according to Hayat Tahrir al-Sham's official Telegram channel, disbursing weapons to local Alawite groups, Dubois said. Reaching out to the new leadership is both an act of desperation and an acceptance of the new reality. This is a look at the dimming options Russia now faces. Russia's best hope may be to try to extend its access until new deals can be made with the new Syrian leaders. The officers will likely have to be very lucrative to win over a Syrian opposition inured to Russian airstrikes and ruthless mercenaries. Russia would likely offer money and other economic incentives, such as discounted refined fuel products, in return for Syria's new rulers tolerating its military presence.
القوات الروسية تجمع رتل كبير. هذا الرتل الثاني